Welcome back, everyone, to Showbiz India, and today it is my pleasure to welcome Farhan Akhtar to Dallas, and for the first time on Showbiz India. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So how does it feel you're here in rainy Dallas, but your show's tomorrow?
I really wasn't expecting rainy Dallas, let me be honest, but I'm happy that we're finally here. I'm happy that we're finally kicking off a tour that we've been excited about for a while now. So what better place to start than to start in Dallas?
So Farhan, this is a first of its kind. I don't think there's ever been an incident where a star has come and singing himself in a concert, like a real rock concert. That's a great feeling, I'm sure, for you.
I think more than what I feel about me being a film star doing music, I think what's really enjoyable and what's really exciting is the interaction that I look forward to with the audience. I think that's the important thing here. That they have fun when they come in over the next few weekends, to enjoy the music, to listen to this music, a little trip down memory lane, because a lot of the music covers from Dil Chahta Hai all the way till Wazir now. So it really is, it's very nostalgic for us to perform, and hopefully for everyone who gets in here tomorrow to listen to and to enjoy. And please come and wear your jumping and dancing shoes, because it's going to be that kind of night.
So how different is that feeling when you step on stage and you see all this audience cheering for you? I'm sure that's extremely exhilarating, to say the least.
Of course it is. And there's a huge difference between what we do in film and what happens on stage. The connection with the audience is different. It's very in the moment. And the more you kind of let go of the conscious, the more fun it is for you as a performer and even for the audience who are looking on. So to just kind of break down all those rules, everything that I planned that I would like to do on stage is kind of forgotten by the time the second song kicks in, and you'll see it tomorrow. You'll see what it is that we do. It's pretty manic.
I can just imagine. So what was perhaps one of your most memorable performances on stage up till now?
Well, there have been many actually. Performing in various colleges across India has been a lot of fun, because apart from the music, there's also been the whole Mard initiative, which is part of the music, to see how students have gone over the last 2.5 years of us doing these concerts, from learning about what it is that Mard is, to now already knowing by the time we get there, already having prepared certain things for us as a part of the initiative. Already having signed up instead of us telling them to do it. So for me, that's a very, very big thing, that kind of awareness that's happening, not only about Mard as an initiative, but about the importance of young people who are in colleges now being involved in the process of creating a gender equal society. I think that's a very, very big thing that's happening. So that's one aspect of it. And musically speaking, of course, every place has a different energy, because the crowd sometimes react to different songs differently. So it depends, but I think a memorable moment was when my younger daughter came for a concert with me in Mumbai, and when we started playing Havan Karenge, she completely lost it, and she was side stage with a friend of hers, and she just ran on the stage and started like head banging and doing all this stuff, and it was just so amazing to see. And that's what music does. You can just let go and be yourself, and it was just amazing to see her just so not shy, because you ask her to do something in front of anyone, because she loves singing and she loves dancing. But the minute there are people around at home, she kind of goes off a little bit into a shell. So just to see her in front of about 11,000 people, just coming and doing her thing was pretty amazing.
I actually was reading about Mard for many years now, and I was very, very impressed. First of all, I applaud you for this initiative that you're taking. And I recently spoke to Shabana ji, and she was also talking about how you're going to different colleges and talking about how being a male is not just about having six packs, but actually being compassionate. I would love for you to talk a little bit more.
Well, I think Shabana has also summed it up pretty well. There is a certain, over the years, I feel certain values and certain emotional responses that have been equated to what it is being a man. And you see that in film, you see that in advertising, you see that everywhere you go. And for young, impressionable minds, who are growing up, who are boys on the cusp of manhood, who are looking for cultural references to base their label of manhood on, because they eventually will want to call themselves men, and nobody goes up to their parents or to an uncle, and asks them, am I a man now, can you tell me, because there's no definition really of it. So you take what you see from cultural references. All of us did, and when you see references that are unfortunately at times a bit skewed towards the more aggressive qualities being considered being a man, the go-getter, the achiever, the one who won't take no for an answer. So these things, when they come into maybe your life ambition or your goals of what you want, maybe they're good things to have, to not give up, to persevere, to be determined. But they don't necessarily mean the same when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to how you fall in love, what it is you should expect from a woman that you love and maybe doesn't love you back. So there's a certain confusion in the heads maybe of younger boys about to be men. And we just go and we speak to them and we talk to them about this compassionate side, about that it's okay to have and to be able to take no for an answer as well when it comes to certain things. To be sensitive, to be sympathetic towards the other person, to be empathetic towards women, to understand what it is that they're going through in a society which is based in patriarchy and is trying very hard to move away from it, which is a great thing that it's trying. So there are many impulses like this that we kind of address within young boys, and that's a part of what we do.
Primarily, I've lived all my life in the U.S., but after the incident with Nirbhaya happened and a series of other incidents happened, I often wondered what I could do to contribute. So for the audience out there, how could they contribute? How could they join your cause?
Well, our cause is really a behavior initiative which was specifically put together and created to target young men and young boys. But there's many people, many NGOs doing some great work. And you can just go online, you can look for them, whether it's with an NGO called Magic Bus, there's Save the Children, of course, and there's a lot of people doing, like in Oxfam, doing a lot of great work with gender-related issues. So there's a lot of this going on, so there's ways of contributing. But I also must say that, gender discrimination, I think, manifests in different ways in different parts of the world. So there is also a struggle here within the United States, which we are all aware of, which we read about, which we watch on the news. I think the pay gap being like one huge thing that is constantly spoken about. So there are these things that need to be addressed differently in different places, because again, societies the world over have evolved in a certain way, and unfortunately it's not worked well for a certain section of humanity, the way it should have. But there's a great effort and great awareness at this point and great momentum, towards wanting to find the right balance between all these things and between all these issues that exist between man, woman, and then of course even the LGBT, transgender communities. And this is a great time for it. So issues are being discussed, they're being spoken, and wherever, of course, people are, that they can get involved. I think that's the big thing. To not say that it's somebody else's problem and somebody else's job to find a solution. I think all of us need to do it because it's something that plagues civil society as much as it plagues the people who are decision makers.
I'm a personal fan of your work, whether it comes to you're a fantastic producer, you're a director, singer, dancer, actor, of course. One of my favorites of yours is Rock On.
You slipped dancer in there.
Well, you have to be a dancer, right?
Right. I guess to a certain extent, if you're working in Hindi film, you have to dance. Yes.
Do you not like dancing?
All the directors, Ishari.
So do you not like dancing?
No, I thoroughly enjoy dancing. But there was one thing about dancing in a film that really was a wall that I had to break through. Which is when you work in a film, and any actor will say this to you, like one of the golden rules, unless it's a very specific requirement in the script, is you never look into the camera. The camera doesn't exist because you're just dealing with the characters or with your feelings in isolation in a space. So there is no camera, there's nobody looking in. But when you do a song, one of the main things is that you have to look into the camera and dance. So that was a huge wall for me to get over and like to break through. I was like, but who am I looking at? There's nobody there. So they were like, just imagine the audience. I'm like, but why is the audience watching me on this set wearing these clothes? So that took a while. But then once you do it a couple of times and you start enjoying it, like forget it now, just enjoy the moment. And then you get used to it. But that did take some time.
You've got a great body of work, so it's almost unfair to say which was one of my favorite films. But I think I would have to say Rock On because it was a different genre suddenly introduced to Indian cinema. What was yours?
The films that we do are the films that we like. That's the reason we choose them. And there's many films that I haven't done, which have actually also been eventually cast with other actors, and have gone on to be amazing films and to be very successful films. But I guess our greatest responsibility as actors, or anyone I think in the creative field, be it a writer or a director as well, is to be true to that instinct inside of us, saying this is for me, this feels right. So I think the most challenging film for me to do definitely was Bhag Milka Bhag. I don't think there was anything that I've done so far that's more challenging than that. And a very fruitful experience, because it also made me realize that pushing myself out of a zone that's not the kind of language where this character comes from, the kind of like an uneducated village boy, is not something that I relate to at all in terms of my personal upbringing. So to be able to bring myself to be able to do that, and then of course the physicality that comes with being a sports person, there was a lot to change within myself. So that to me was a big challenge. Rock On felt closer to home because it's a Mumbai film. It's about the kind of music that I've grown up loving. So it was easier for me to do. As much as I enjoy that film, and I think that you're absolutely right that there was a certain change in the milieu of the kind of music, at least, that suddenly became commercial and viable through that film. But the biggest challenge for me, which is why I guess the most fulfilling, would be Bhag Milka Bhag.
How would you like to be remembered as actor, director? How would Farhan Akhtar like to be remembered?
Well, I don't know. I think that's up for people to decide, what they'd like to remember me as, if at all they want to remember me. But I guess I really don't have an answer to what I'd like to be remembered as. Somebody at one point had asked me, and I'm trying to remember what that answer was, because somebody asked me that, when you're dead, which I didn't at that point think was a very fun question, but they were like, so what would you like written on your tombstone, So it was just like something to the extent of, remember me, I guess. I guess that's what it is. That's why we do film, so that there's a certain quest for immortality in it, I guess.
Absolutely. And we have to talk about your upcoming work. You have Race coming up, Rock On is coming up again. So tell me, what else can we look forward to?
Well, we have Race, of course, releasing this year. We have Rock On 2 releasing. We have Bar Bar Dekho that's releasing as well, which is a film by a first-time director working with us, Nitya Mehra. So there's these 3 films this year. And then I get on to working on a couple of projects next year, which I shall reveal when the time is right. Unfortunately, I'm contractually bound not to speak about them right now. But yeah, there's a lot of work in the pipeline.
You're multifaceted. How do you switch between roles of being a director and an actor, especially between those two if you're an actor and not directing?
Well, the lines are kind of blurred when you talk about the relationship between an actor and a director. So as when I was directing, I looked forward to the actors that were cast in the film coming back with a lot of feedback, with notes, with questions. I really looked forward to it, because apart from the fact that it gave them, I guess, direction as to where they'd like the character to go, or where they think the director would like the character to go, it also gave me a lot of clarity in terms of what I'm asking them to do is the right thing to be doing. Because when they have questions, you have to have answers. If you don't have answers, then why are you asking them to do it? So you get a lot of clarity with doing it. So similarly, when I act, I do ask a lot of questions, but unfortunately, because I've been a director, that can be misconstrued for being interfering. But if an actor who's never directed before asked those same questions, they'd be like, see how well researched and how he's taking his job so seriously and asking the director. He wants to do his best, So when I try to do my best, I'm usually confused for interfering. So it's a no-win situation for me. But that should not change me. So I don't change. I still ask. I still suggest. I still do all those things that any actor would do. And if the people who work with me, I think their opinion is important. They know I'm not stepping on their feet, or or kind of trying to take over what it is that they're doing, and that eventually is all really that matters.
He's cute and charismatic. It's great to see you. It was wonderful to have you on Showbiz India.
Thank you very much.